In the scorching town of Obinzele, where the sun never seemed to rest, and even the nights buzzed with noise and life, there lived a girl named Zainab who just couldn't keep her eyes open. It wasn't because she was lazy. No, Zainab tried, but every single day in class, right on time, her eyelids would grow heavy, her head would drop, and just like that, sleep would pull her away like a strong tide. Nobody knew what to make of it. Not the teachers, not her classmates, not even her mother, Mama Idaya, who once out of frustration stormed into her school with a bucket of river water and poured it over Zainab's head in front of everyone. Zainab only blinked, gave a long, soft yawn, and drifted right back to sleep. The whispers came fast and they stung. She's cursed. Maybe she eats too much yam. Lazy spirit girl. By the time Zainab turned 14, she had stopped trying to defend herself. What was the use? She didn't even understand what was happening to her. But her dreams, they weren't like other people's dreams. In her sleep, she walked across deserts that cracked like old skin. She spoke to rivers that had human faces and eyes that blinked. She touched stars, real ones, that leaned down to whisper secrets into her ears. Sometimes, she woke up with tears rolling down her cheeks. Other times, she'd be laughing so hard she couldn't breathe. Once, she returned from a dream speaking a strange language no one had ever heard before and didn't stop for 3 whole days. Her mother had tried everything. She burned bitter herbs until the house was thick with smoke. She whispered prayers in low, trembling tones, holding Zainab's hand as if love alone could pull her back. But no matter how many times Mama Idaya begged or cried, Zainab still slipped away always into sleep, deeper and deeper each time, like the dream world was calling her name louder than anyone else could. Then came that hot, sticky afternoon. The sun hung low and angry in the sky. Cicadas buzzed in the trees. The classroom fans barely worked, spinning slow circles that only pushed the heat around. Zainab sat in her usual spot by the window, chin in her hand, eyes already heavy. And then, like before her, head dropped. But this time, the thud was louder, heavier. At first, no one noticed. The teacher kept talking. A few students snickered. But 5 minutes passed. Then 10. "Zainab?" the teacher called. She didn't move. "Zainab?" Still nothing. Now the class grew quiet, uncomfortably quiet. The teacher rushed over and shook her. Her body was warm, her chest rising and falling, but her eyes stayed shut. Her lips didn't move. It was like she was sleeping, but not really sleeping. 2 other teachers were called in. They tried shouting, clapping. Even powdered dried pepper was gently placed near her nostrils. Everyone held their breath. Nothing. No flinch, no twitch, not even a wrinkle of her nose. By now, students were whispering behind their hands. Some had slipped out of their seats, backing away as if sleep could spread like a sickness. "She's cursed. It's finally happened." One girl started crying. Mama Idaya arrived breathless, face soaked with sweat and fear. She knelt beside her daughter and shook her shoulders. "Zainab, Zainab, please wake up." No response. Her voice cracked. "Somebody help her." That was when someone whispered, "Call Baba Urikan." And even though his name made the bravest people uneasy, no one argued. They sent a boy running. It didn't take long. The sun was just beginning to sink when Baba Urikan appeared, as if the wind had carried him. He wore long robes, the color of burnt wood, and his eyes were dark and unreadable. A rusted bell hung from one hand. A black crow clung to his shoulder, watching everyone with still, shiny eyes. He didn't greet anyone. He walked straight into the room, past the crowd of frightened students and worried teachers, until he reached Zainab. She lay completely still now, peaceful almost, but too quiet, too far away. Baba Urikan studied her face, then whispered a word no one had heard before. "Enujo." The teachers exchanged confused glances. "What is that?" one of them asked. He looked up slowly. The spirit of the in-between. He feeds on dreamers, marks the ones born under the wrong sky, makes their sleep his door. Mama Idaya let out a sharp breath, her eyes wide with horror. So how do we pull her back? You don't, he said simply. She must walk through. From his robes, he drew out a strange, round object, a mirror black as night, smooth and cold, like it had swallowed stars. He gently placed it on Zainab's back. She's no longer here, he said. Her spirit has crossed into the other side, but she's not lost. Not yet. He paused, glancing at the crow on his shoulder. There's something waiting for her there, something she was always meant to find. Zainab opened her eyes and found herself standing in a forest that smelled like rain and smoke. Not like any forest she had ever seen. The trees were tall and wide, but their bark had faces watching her, blinking slowly. The ground beneath her feet throbbed gently like it had a heartbeat. In the distance, she could hear a child crying. Somewhere else, something was breathing. Slow, heavy, like a drum. Then she heard it, a voice loud, firm, full of power. Zainab. She turned quickly. An old woman stood behind her. Her hair floated like mist, her skin wrinkled like dry bark, but her eyes, they were Zainab's eyes. The same shape, the same shine. Even the tiny scar under the left one. Zainab stepped back. Who are you? The old woman looked at her with a soft smile. I'm you, or at least the part of you that remembers who you really are. Zainab blinked, heart thudding. Why am I always asleep? She asked quietly. Because you were never meant to live in just one world, the old woman said. You're a bridge, a watcher, someone who walks between the land of dreams and the world of the awake. But lately you've been lost, floating, hiding, letting others tell you what you are. Zainab's voice shook. So, what now? You stop hiding, the woman said. You stop apologizing for who you are, and you remember your true name. Zainab frowned. But I already have a name. No, the woman said gently, stepping closer. You have a label, a name someone gave you. I'm talking about the real one, the name Inujo took from you the day you were born. Suddenly, the earth split open with a low rumble. From the crack rose a tall termite mound, broken neatly in two. A strange golden light glowed from inside it. On the front, something was carved in bold letters. Speak what sleeps beneath your skin. Zainab felt something stir deep in her chest, like a drum, like a spark. She stepped forward. Her hands shook, her breath caught, her heart felt too big for her body. Then, without knowing how or why, she opened her mouth and shouted from the deepest part of herself. I am the girl who walks through worlds. I am not your sleeping curse. I am Zainab, daughter of both sides. The forest trembled. The trees swayed and bowed their faces. The termite mound broke apart into dust and light. The old woman's eyes sparkled. She stepped forward, took Zainab's hand, and whispered with a smile, Welcome back. Zainab's eyes flew open. She gasped like someone rising from deep underwater and sat up straight, fully awake. The classroom froze. Chalk dropped from a teacher's hand. A few students gasped. One even screamed. Zainab looked around, breathing hard. Her eyes were clear, focused, no sleepiness, no confusion. She wasn't lost anymore. And then she smiled. Not the soft, dazed smile they'd seen before, but a fierce, knowing one, like a fire had been lit inside her. That day, she didn't fall asleep once.
That week, she stood tall before the school assembly and led the debate team with a voice like rolling thunder. Calm, strong, sure. Later that month, she raised her hand in class. May I teach a lesson? She asked. I want to share what I've learned about dream lore, the spirit world, and how not all sleep is weakness. Sometimes it's how we hear the things the waking world tries to silence. No one laughed. They listened. Because something had changed. Zainab had changed. But what really happened in that other world? What had broken the strange, heavy sleep that pulled her away for so long? It wasn't just the forest, or the old woman, or the glowing termite mound. It was what Zainab remembered. She remembered who she was, who she had always been deep down, before the world gave her labels like lazy and strange. In the spirit world, Zainab had been shown her true name, not the one written on her birth certificate, but the name that carried her soul's purpose. A name older than the town of Obinzele, a name born between stars and shadows. She remembered that her dreams were not accidents. They were messages, warnings, guides. She remembered being born on a night when the moon blinked 3 times, and a wind passed through her crib whispering secrets only spirit watchers hear. Inu Joe, the spirit of the in-between, had noticed her then, marked her. Not to curse her, not to harm her, but to call her. He needed someone to hold the bridge between 2 worlds. Someone who could carry voices from dreams into daylight. Someone who could remember what others forgot. And when Zainab finally shouted her truth into that glowing mound, when she claimed her real name, the chain that kept her tied to endless, restless sleep shattered. Because she was no longer drifting, she was no longer afraid. And that was how the students no longer whispered behind her back. Instead, they came to her with questions, dreams they didn't understand, fears they couldn't name. And Zainab listened. Sometimes she smiled and said, "That was just your mind sorting things." Other times she looked deeper and said, "That was a calling. Pay attention." From then on, they didn't call her lazy. They called her Zainab the Between, the girl who walked through worlds and chose to return. Moral lessons. 1. It's okay to be different. Some people are made for a special path. Not everyone fits into the same box. If you see the world differently, or feel things more deeply, that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It might mean you're here to do something extraordinary. 2. Don't let others write your story for you. When you let people label you, you forget who you really are. Your life is your own book. Be the one holding the pen. 3. What looks like a curse might actually be a gift in disguise. Sometimes struggles are not here to break you, but to shape you. The thing that makes you feel strange or alone could be the very thing that makes you powerful. 4. Rest isn't weakness. Sometimes it's where strength is born. Sleep and quiet moments aren't always about escape. For some, they're where battles are fought, truths are found, and purpose is discovered. 5. Your name has power. Make sure it's one that tells your truth. What you call yourself matters. Don't just accept the names others give you. Find the name that speaks to your spirit and wear it proudly.
Support us by subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to like and share our videos with your friends and family. Thank you.